Good afternoon, and welcome to the St. Louis Minority Business Development Agency's Coronavirus Teams webinar series. Our mission is to ensure we offer resources to support small businesses to continue to thrive as we navigate COVID-19. I would like to acknowledge our director of the St. Louis Minority Business Development Agency, Mr. Todd Gilliard, who is with us today. My name is Tamisha Taylor, and I serve as the administrative assistant to the coronavirus team. Today, our presenter is Mr. Kevin Wilson from the St. Louis Small Business Empowerment Center, and he will lead us in the topic of 8A certification. Join me in welcoming Mr. Kevin Wilson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Wilson. I am the Executive Director of the Small Business Empowerment Center. I am so grateful to be here today. I'd like to thank Todd Gilliard, Tamisha Taylor, and Dr. Alice Herndon for inviting me to be here today. I think this is a great topic for all the participants today. I think this is a great topic for minority business, diverse businesses to take advantage of some of the great opportunities with the Small Business Administration, particularly in the context of federal contracting. So today we're talking about the 8A certification program and some of the benefits of 8A is to help level the playing field for small businesses owned by socially and economically disadvantaged people or entities. The government limits competition for certain contracts to businesses that participate in the 8A business development program. Disadvantaged businesses in the 8A program can compete for set-asides and sole source contracts in the program, get a business opportunity specialist to help them navigate federal contracting, form joint ventures with established businesses through SBA's Mentor Protege program, and receive management and technical assistance, including business training, counseling, marketing assistance, and high-level executive development. To qualify for this program, you got to be a small business based on SBA regulations. And you can find that on sba.gov on size standards. Not have previously participated in the 8A program. So if you've been an 8A before, you can't do it now. It is important to note that the SBA 8A certification is a 9-year program. It's not in perpetuity, and so you've got to stay in compliance at 9 years. And once that 9 years is over, one would assume that you have mastered the art of going after federal contracts. And so you've got to be at least 51% owned or controlled by a U.S. citizen who are socially and economically disadvantaged. And have personal net worth of $750,000 or less, adjusted income of $350,000 or less, and $6 million or less in assets, and then also demonstrate good character and potential to perform on contracts. So my little anecdotal story here before I start into this presentation is that, I am, a little bit about my background. I've been working with small business owners for probably about like 25 years. I started off as an SBA 504 loan officer years ago for the city of St. Louis. And then I started participating in the technical assistance programs of SBA, and one of my old loan that I did previously had come to me and said, "Hey, Kevin, I want to participate in this 8A certification program," and hadn't heard about it. I was only familiar with the loan programs at the time. And so I helped this lady through the application because it looked a lot like an SBA loan application at the time, and this was probably what 20 something years ago. I'm aging myself now, but once I helped her through the application, she was very happy, and lo and behold, she got approved for a 8A certification. However, I had no idea at the time, 20 years ago, what the benefits were at the time. And so then she came back to me a year so later and said, hey, I got $3 million worth of federal contracts with your assistance. And I was like, how did I do that? So what I come to find out is that I'd helped her through this application, and then she got access to these robust federal contracts, which made a tremendous difference in her business. So then I started paying attention to the 8A program and understood then, like, wow, this is a powerful program. Not only is the SBA providing lending opportunities for small businesses, but opportunities to go after these contracts. And so now this is part of my repertoire, if you will, of helping clients through 8A certification. And I do want to, add that the MBDA is a great supporter of this program nationally, and wherever the audience might be, whether that is in St. Louis or around the country, that the MBDA is a great resource, as well as the Small Business Empowerment Center, on helping you go through this program. So with that, I'm going to kind of go through this slide deck. I want to make sure that we leave enough time at the end of this presentation to answer your questions. But first, let's just talk a little bit about the Small Business Administration. I might be talking about the obvious, but for those who don't know, the Small Business Administration, or the SBA, is a federal agency out there that does indirect lending for small business owners. They typically work through banks and certified development corporations and some nonprofit lenders to provide capital for small business owners. They also provide technical assistance through the Small Business Development Center program, SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives, Women's Business Centers, and the Veterans Business Outreach Centers, or VBOCs. And then they also provide disaster relief through the Economic Injury Disaster Loan and the Paycheck Protection Program. But today we're going to talk a little bit about their programs, and in particular the 8A, about how they give small business owners access to government contracts. So the SBA's mission in this regard, could I get the last slide again? I'm sorry, is to create a one-stop shop for small businesses to apply for the SBA programs, to help SBA and to reach out to small businesses in an effective, efficient, and accountable way for case management. All right, and so next slide, please. And so once again, I kind of went through the benefits of the program, and once again is to help small business owners gain access to these government contracts, and this could be a methodology for you to grow your business. I always want to put in this plug, is that Uncle Sam is like the #1 purchaser in the world. So it might work within your customer segmentation that the federal government could be a good customer for you. If you have a product or service that the federal government needs, 8A certification can be great for you. And so once again, as long as you are a small business owner, you are part of a socially and economically disadvantaged group, then you can apply. All right. So next slide, please. So in the old days, you would have to pull down the SBA application, print it off, fill it out by hand, make multiple copies, and then create a stack of paper for you and a stack of paper for the SBA, and then mail that off to the district office. Well, those days are over. Now they are doing everything online, and this is in an attempt to reduce paperwork and to make it a little bit easier on you, the small business / entrepreneur. Next slide, please. So using Certified SBA, you're able to then reuse documents. There is a level of transparency. There is online questionnaires and also direct messaging, which is awesome for this. So this is fantastic. Let's see here. Somehow I've lost the presentation here. Okay, there we go. All right. So all of this is allowing you to do everything online and make this easier for you. And all you got to do is go to certified.sba.gov. Next slide, please. So we're going to do an overview of the online platform, and I'm going to also give you some tips on things you should consider as you're going through this process, right? So I think pre-prep is critical for this program. And also I want to note that you've got to at least be 2 years old in your business, showing some track record to apply for 8A. And there has to be a preponderance of evidence that, number one, you can be successful in this program, as well as that you are well versed in the industry in which you're applying for 8A certification. Many of the people in this audience might have already gone after MBE certification or WBE certification or DBE. I should probably not use the acronyms: Minority Business Enterprise Certification, Women Business Enterprise Certification, or Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Certification from some of the other entities in this region or around the country. I always say that the SBA 8A program is far more difficult than those, but well worth going through at the end of the day. You just have to make sure that you got all your documentation, all your ducks in a row before you apply. And once again, I'll just make a plug that my organization, as well as MBDA, can assist you in this. All right, so next slide, please. So one of the first things you want to do is to go on certified.sba.gov and determine if you are eligible to apply. So they got a questionnaire online that you should go through, and this questionnaire will at least help you determine if you're eligible to be an 8A certified company, right? So as a small business owner, I want an easy way to determine which small business programs I might be eligible for, so you can focus your time appropriately. So one of the things that I also want to plug, today we're talking about specifically 8A certification, but you would also use the same site for HubZone certification, women-owned business enterprise certification. All of these are federal certifications. And so you can apply for all three. And instead of having to put in the application, all the same documents in like 3 times, you're only putting them in once, and you can apply for all of these. But today we're just talking about 8A certification. All right. Next slide, please. So after you've done that survey to see if you're eligible, we are encouraging you to go and get your DUNS number as the first step. Step number 2 is to register for sam.gov. And step 3, to apply on certified.sba.gov third, right? So typically what you're going to find when you get onto the SBA website is going to ask you for the DUNS number, and it's going to ask you for your SAM's number, and it's going to kick you out if you don't have it, right? So take your time, make sure that your DUNS number is correct, your SAM's registration is correct, and then you're going to be linking those to this application. All right, next slide, please. So you're going to go to the certified.sba.gov site, And first, you're going to click on the orange button. Now, I typically would not go into this amount of detail and minutia. However, over the years, I've just gotten these questions so many times. I figure I'm going to put it in this presentation. So, when you first go, you're going to go onto the orange button first, right? So, uh, you're going to visit the site. You're going to get started button, which is orange, and you're going to register, right? And then you're going to link your account to your SAMS profile through your DUNS number to gain entrance to the certified platform. Okay, so once again, and I'm going to repeat this multiple times, you want to go get your SAMS profile from sam.gov first, and then your DUNS number, and then go to certified.sba.gov. Next slide, please. As you can see, you're going to get in here and it's going to have a dashboard here. That dashboard is customized for you for one-click access to your initial application. You're going to click on the initial application to take it to your full application. Alternative firms that can click on the 3 blue dots to view application or delete application. I don't know why you want to delete it, but maybe you don't want to do the program anymore. But this is how you're going to get there. All right, next slide, please. So also, if you provide email address and all of that for us, I can or we can provide you with this certified quick start guide for firms. But I put a couple pages into this presentation to kind of walk everyone through this. So once again, I'm kind of, reiterating here is before you start your 8A application, visit first you're going to go to certified.sba.gov and utilize the am I eligible tool to determine if you're eligible. Next, you're going to download the application checklist from the preparation section of certified.sba.gov to gather the required documents. Now, for many of you all who've already done MBE, WBE, and DBE certification, you probably got a lot of this information already. There's going to probably be a few more documents that 8A or SBA is going to require from you, but I would encourage you all to put all those documents into a folder on your desktop, on your computer, so that you can get easy access to them, okay? Secondly, once again, I'm repeating this a little bit, but you can never repeat some of this enough, is obtain your DUNS number, visit DUNS request service to apply for the Data Universal Numbering System, or DUNS number. Register in the System for Awards Management, or SAM. Visit sam.gov and click Create an Account in the top right and proceed to create an individual account. sam.gov will request your DUNS number. After you have submitted your information, your account must be approved by SAM to apply and certify. The approval process will take several days. So many of you all might find a contract on the federal government that you want to go after and it says, hey, you need to be 8A certified. Know that this process is not overnight. It takes a while to do it. So give yourself at least 2 to 3 months to go through this process before trying to go after some of these contracts under the umbrella of 8A. Then you want to go back and then you want to create your certified account. You want to visit certified.sba.gov and click on Get Started and go through that. You do need your TIN number, EIN number, Social Security number, MPIN number from sam.gov. So also, as just a way of making things a little easier for you, once again, the MBDA has some procurement specialists. Also, you might reach out to the the PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Assuming that most everybody on this webinar are from Missouri, there is a Missouri Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and I would encourage you all to reach out to them. They can help you navigate getting your DUNS number, and SAM's registration. All right. Next slide, please. So the application, you want to get their general assessment. Most forms have been converted into an online questionnaire to make it easier for firms to answer questions relevant to them. Firms will answer each question in order until they're done with all 5 sections. All right, so once again, there's some sections in there. You need to complete them all, and as you complete them, it will register that these sections are completed. Okay. Next slide, please. All right, certified features. This is kind of like an application overview. Forms will be able to see all aspects of their application on one page. You'll see application sections, the document library tab, messages to replace email with SBA. So typically you used to have to email SBA from your platform, whether that's Outlook or Gmail. All of that email and back and forth will be done on the platform via certified.sba.gov. You'll also get notifications of tasks that are completed, and additional contributors can input data. And this is critical. It used to be when you did this stuff by paper, you're asking your accountant and all of your other partners in your business to add information to this paper form. But now they can just go on you can give them access to the site, and they can bypass you and put their information directly in there, and that can make some of this more confidential. I will make a note is that this is definitely program is definitely geared to socially and economically disadvantaged individuals, Black, Brown, individuals, Asian, Native American, Alaskan, and those who have been socially disadvantaged also. It can be individuals from Appalachian Mountains, as an example. But you want to make sure that the majority of the ownership in your company is 51% or more of the socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. Those social and economically disadvantaged individuals have to have control of the company. For those who are MBE, WBE, DBE certified, you understand this already, but for those this is totally new, this company has to be controlled by these socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. So you have to control the checking account. You've got to make the decisions in the company. You've got to have majority ownership. If any of these things are in question, SBA is going to take a deeper dive in this. If you don't control this company, if someone owns the majority of the company that is not part of one of these socially or economically disadvantaged categories, there is a high probability that you would get rejected out of this program. So make sure that you've got all of that in alignment before you apply. Okay? Next slide, please. One of the things I love about certified.sba.gov, once again, I've been doing this a long time, probably too long, is I used to always have my clients put together this giant binder with tabs of financials, tax returns, resumes, all of that stuff. Well, now with certified.sba.gov, it keeps everything in a document library all sorted for you, right? And so you can easily update this information, delete this information, all from this dashboard. And it's fairly easy to use and easy to upload information. SBA has done a lot of hard work to try to make this easier than it has to. Now, for those who are not tech savvy, this might be incredibly difficult, but always make sure that you reach out to some of your technical assistance providers Once again, MBDA, SBDC score, or Women's Business Center, or the VBox, and they're happy to help you with some of this. Okay, next slide, please. So one of the things I love about this, about the new site, is that you can make edits to the application in its sections. You can go in there, whether your contributors have put some stuff in there, you can make edits and make the necessary changes. And always make sure, I can't emphasize this enough, is to save each and every time. Clicking the save button will save you a lot of heartache, right? You can upload and view documents. So, you're uploading, you'll be prompted to upload documents while filling out your application. And certify documents should be saved as a PDF with naming convention, document title, year, as an example, W2-2015. Files must be 25 megabytes or less. Do not password to protect any of these files. Make sure you make it easy for SBA to access these documents. You make it difficult, it's only going to draw out this process, okay? So you can view all the documents uploaded and certified regardless of the program or application. You can click documents link in the dark blue navigation bar at the top of the page to view documents associated with your application. You can also delete documents in here. You just click on the button and it can delete the stuff. And then you can submit your completed application. Select sign and submit from the dashboard to send your application to SBA. Applications can only be submitted when all sections are completed. You'll see like a green completed sign on there, including additional contributor information. You will not be able to edit your application after submission unless SBA requests more information, right? What should I expect after applying? You'll be able to also check the status of your application at certified.sba.gov. So you'll log in to certify your account, view the status column in your application on your dashboard. You'll also be able to correspond with the SBA after submission. You can click Messages tab and found in your application menu on your application overview screen, and you'll be able to correspond with SBA analysts after your application has been assigned. I cannot emphasize enough is to gather all the documentation that you need ahead of time before uploading this stuff. That will make your life a whole lot easier. Once again, there's a checklist that's available. Get everything on that checklist. Once again, reach out to your technical assistance provider. We can review all of that information before you start uploading to make sure that it is massaged correctly, that you've got all the right information. And that makes this so much easier. This is a long process, can take 2 to 3 months. There is a lot of applications going into the queue right now. So many small business owners are trying to gain access to federal contracting because there's so many opportunities out there right now. So you want to make sure when you're putting your 8A application in that it is as pristine as you can get it, okay? Don't want to, scare you off here, but make sure that you got it as complete as possible for you before you apply. All right, next slide, please. So once again, instead of you just emailing SBA from Outlook or your Gmail account or your Yahoo account, you're doing all this messaging internally. And this also keeps everything secure for you. Sensitive information is all done within this platform, which makes it secure, and everything is confidential. And you also know whether SBA has received your message or not. It's not in a spam folder or whatever. So this makes sure that your message doesn't get into a spam folder. It is all secure and encrypted on this website. All right. Next slide, please. So once again, firms can now share access with contributors. The applicant received notification regarding which sections, including other contributors, are still outstanding. So let's say you do have a partner that's in your business and they're in another city. You want to make sure that they've turned in their financial statement, their tax returns. You can look in on certified.sba.gov in the sections, and it'll either say complete or incomplete. And as you can see, the incomplete sign is in red. Complete will be in green. So so it does make it easier for your contributors to put information in there, whether that is a business partner or your spouse, right? But once again, you want to make sure that the majority of the ownership are from disadvantaged individuals, socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. You're going to have challenges if the majority of the ownership is not. All right. Next slide, please. Once again, just kind of emphasizing that you have this wonderful dashboard here that has all your information on there that you can share with your contributors. You can go back here, you can know whether you have completed sections or not. You can review your information, making sure your address is correct, your EIN number is correct, things like that. You want to make sure that all your tax returns and things like that all jive with the application. And so the firm's dashboard of all certifications, you'll get the status of the program application and renewal deadlines, and view all firm's SBA certifications, not just SBA. So your women-owned business certification will be up here, as well as HubZone, and you can review those right there and know whether they are in renewal or in current status, things like that. And so I work with a lot of my clients every week, and they give me access to their dashboard, or they put it up on the Zoom. So they share the screen on Zoom, and then we can look at this and work on these applications together. All right. Next slide, please. Once again, you'll see on the dashboard in this application process, you can see the complete core sections. Previous SBA forms have been recreated online as online questionnaires. Firms will be able to walk through how to complete all 5 sections. Contributors can add details in addition to the 5 sections. All relevant disadvantaged individuals, as well as non-disadvantaged individuals and spouses of disadvantaged individuals, will directly input their data. And then there is a submit the application to SBA. Once the firm submits the application, you're good to go. The applicant should watch for emails from Certified asking for additional information. All right. Next slide, please. When firms are ready to continue work. So now this happens quite a bit. Once again, I know that I'm repeating myself, but I want to emphasize, collect all the data ahead of time, all your forms and everything, make sure that everything is up to date, then start inputting the documentation. This can be a difficult process if you're not used to it, right? But in the eventuality that you don't have everything, and you have to put the application to the side, when firms are ready to continue the work on the application, you just log back into certified.sba.gov and click on the blue login button or the login link at the top right corner, right? So you're not going back to the orange button, you're going to the blue button. Once again, it seems like I'm stating the obvious here, but I've had a lot of clients get stuck on. So I started it with the orange button. I kept pushing the orange button. It's like starting the application over again. So if you're going back, you're going to the blue button. Okay. Next slide, please. So in the eventuality, and typically this happens with 8A, is you're going to turn in this application, and the SBA typically they are going to want some more information. In my 15 some years of helping clients through SBA 8A, the majority of them always have some other requests from SBA for clarification, whether that is an updated tax return, or they didn't sign a tax return, or they didn't sign the personal financial statement, whatever. There's always some little glitchy thing in what you've uploaded. You will typically have 45 days to appeal your 8A application or to respond to them. So even if they reject it, they typically are going to give you the reason why they're rejecting the application, and you got 45 days to respond. That rejection doesn't mean that is fine, is a final decision. You do have time for a rebuttal. Let your technical assistance provider help you, right? Whether that is the MBDA, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I guarantee you, Todd Gilliard, Alice Herndon will assist you, as well as I will, to help you through this process. We can figure out the best methodology to help you figure that out. We've got some resources at our hand and consultants that can help you through this. Won't guarantee that we can fix all things, but the things that are a matter of finesse, we will make sure that we can help you finesse this application and give you the optimal opportunity to get approval. All right. Next slide, please. I got through this slide deck a little quicker than I thought. But things I would note before we go into the Q&A is this program. I know this has been a flagship program for the MBDA program and some of its participants over the years, and this 8A program can be amazing in terms of helping small business owners, particularly diverse business owners, access federal contracts, growing your business. I do encourage you to make sure that maybe the federal government is not your number one client. However, the federal government can be a wonderful customer for you if you learn the rules. 8A is not a silver bullet. 8A is a hall pass, if you will, an invitation for you to go and bid on these federal contracts. It's a way of kind of leveling the playing field so that you get access to these federal contracts. And there are billions and billions of dollars of federal contracts that go to small business owners. You have this opportunity. I also typically encourage every small business owner to go to usaspend.gov. Once again, that's usaspend.gov. That will show you all of the contracts that are going to businesses in the country. It is important to note that once you are a federal contractor, everybody's contracts the federal government is subject to sunshine law. So every contract that you win will be on that website. But it's a great intel tool for you to understand what contracts are being awarded. You can go to that website and see what you can use the keyword search, put in your industry, and see all the contracts that are being awarded to companies in that industry. What you'll see is that those contracts range from $20,000 up to $20 million. I believe that everybody in this audience has an opportunity to get somewhere in between that, right? And this could make or break your company in a year. This could be pivotal for your success. And so, I encourage you to take a look at it. 8A has been incredibly beneficial for a lot of my clients. I continue to work with 8A certified companies. I don't intend to not work with them. SBA is always encouraging minority businesses to go after this certification. Um, I can get you in contact with Gary Alexander from the SBA. He would love to have conversations with you about how to apply for this program, as well as HubZone or Women Owned Business certification. So let us know how we can be of assistance to you. We would love to help you. We would love to have you be part of the portfolio of the MBDA or the Small Business Empowerment Center, and how we can help you grow your business, grow jobs in your community, and build a vital city here. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Alice Herndon, and we'll go into the Q&A portion.
Yeah. Kevin, I gotta thank you so much for sharing with us today. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dr. Alice Herndon. I serve as the program coordinator for the Missouri MBDA, St. Louis especially, and I am really happy to be in this space. Kevin, what a wonderful presentation today. And I've got some questions because I always think like that small business owner, right?
Right.
Right. And so, if you have questions, please feel free to add that in the chat. And I love this because there was a question that did come up, and do you have to be in business for 2 years? I didn't see that requirement on any of the websites. That's one of the questions that came up.
Absolutely. So you should be in business. So let me be specific. The SBA 8A application is going to ask you whether you've been in business 2 years, because they want, once again, a preponderance of evidence that you could be successful in this program, right? So they don't want small business owners to come into the program and just sit. You only got 9 years to be in it, so they want ready businesses to get in. Now, there are some exceptions, right? So let's say you're Dr. Alice Herndon, who is an expert in her field and been doing some work in her particular industry for 10 years. That is a preponderance of evidence. You could probably show, like, oh, I've been an accountant for 10 years and now I'm starting my business in accountancy. And so, yeah, it shows that you could be successful in this, right? And so, seeing that you might have a business plan, you started your business, et cetera, everything else is in alignment, then you can show from your resume and references that you've been in this industry for X amount of years, then they would probably give you that exception. But you do have to be able to show this ability to be successful in the program.
Okay, that's good stuff. You mentioned something earlier at the top of your presentation, and that was um, 750,000
Mhm.
or less is considered to be a small business owner.
Mhm.
And part of the 8A certification process will help you gain that opportunity to become that 1 million and get into that next tier of business ownership. Talk a little bit about that.
So the statement is that you have to have a personal net worth,
Mhm.
right? I see where you're going with this, Alice. So you have to have a personal net worth of 750 or less, and
Mhm.
adjusted gross income of 350K or less, and 6 million or less in assets, right? So Oprah Winfrey can't get 8A certification, right? So Oprah is way too wealthy, right? So this is not for wealthy minorities or women to get in, right? This is for, you can be middle class, right? You can be middle class and get into this program, but definitely they are looking for individuals who, you know, and using colloquialisms, you can't have had your come up already, be balling out of control, and be an 8A, be an 8A. But if your net worth is $750,000 or less, typically you can get into this program.
Awesome. I have a question from Miss Sheila Johnson, and she asked, she's been going back and forth with her application, and is there someone in particular that can help with this? And definitely, Kevin Wilson is the person whom I would definitely recommend because he is our resource partner. And I'll share his contact information following the presentation on today because we want to make sure that we connect you with the proper resources that's going to support you to position your business for growth. Now, Kevin, one of the things that you said also is that preparation, and you kept repeating that, get your documents in advance. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's stress a little bit more about the necessity of that
Mm-hmm.
to help those that are here with us today or that will look at this video in the future.
Okay, so Alice probably doesn't want me to say this, but Alice and I are both veteran SBA technical assistance providers, right? So we, I love how she's prepping these questions because I know she knows the answer already, but it is easier for Alice and I to keep you out of trouble versus get you out of trouble, right? So helping you prep first before you apply. So making sure you have all the documentation on the front end is critical, right? So once if you've gone in and and I love small business owners, they just shotgun method, pow 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 pow. Let's do this thing, right? Like I'm gonna wake up one morning and I'm gonna just be an 8A certified company. I'm gonna just start doing it. Well, now you've given some information to the SBA. Now we might have to help you clean it up. And that's way more difficult than helping you on the front end. If we can look at the documentation on the front end and say, okay, before you turn this in, fix this, change this, say this instead of that, it's way easier. Now, once you got it, you got an application in, we got to then try to backtrack and figure out what you've done, where you might have misstepped. How about that? So prep ahead of time is way easier for us. You can either get the checklist from the SBA, or we can provide it for you, right? And once you get that checklist, and unfortunately, we can't help you put that checklist together. That's your responsibility. That's your documentation. What we can do is review it, give you feedback, um, give you guidance on what SBA is going to approve or decline.
Mhm.
SBA will not tell you what you've done wrong on your application. All SBA can say is yay or nay, right? And they will always direct you to, if you got questions, they're always going to direct you to technical assistance providers. So work with us on the front end, and I think we can help you out.
Yeah, great response. And yes, there was a follow-up question to the net worth. And the question is, does the net worth of 750,000 include property owned?
So it typically it's according to how liquid everything is, right? So we're really talking about liquid net worth, the 750,000. If that is like converted to cash easily,
Mhm.
and it's over $750,000, you got some challenges. But real estate in theory doesn't necessarily factor into it. It factors in, but it really is about this liquid net worth, right?
Mhm, mhm. Okay. Wanted to follow up again on the preparation of documents. And so while certified.sba.gov is a great resource, and you pointed out that if you have your documents, and I'm a binder queen, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So I put everything in a binder so that way I can easily assess where my documents are. So when it's time to scan those documents in, you can upload them. And as documents change over time, you can um, add those corrected documents or updated documents. Would you also advise to that as well?
Absolutely, right. So if I think in my presentation I had mentioned that, um, you know, put folders on your desktop of your computer and have everything stored in those folders for easy access. And those folders should be labeled just like you would have in a binder, right? So whether you want to start off with a binder, I fully support that. However you best organize, right? So whatever your best methodology of organizing your documentation, that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. And then having that, whether it's in a binder, you do want a um, a replica of that in those folders on your desktop for easy access so you can click and upload.
Hmm. Excellent. And finally, you mentioned something about usaspin.gov of
Yes.
how you can find certain contracts that are available that you might be able to bid on.
hmm So I usually use usaspend.gov as like a teaser for small business owners who are interested in 8A. They say, ah, is 8A my thing, Kevin? Let's look at usaspend.gov. And I usually go on there and say, well, let's see what industry you're in. We type it in, and they see all the contracts that have been awarded to small businesses and big businesses, right? Um, uh, so I think that is a great resource that is free to. I think is a great resource to before you start going trying to apply for 8A. And once again, 8A is not a loan program. It ain't a grant program. This is access to contracts, right? You have to perform on these contracts. You got to show this evidence that you can do this kind of work in the past, right? And so USAspend.gov, all that's going to show you is how they've been doing business with those same kind of businesses like yours around the country. And so, whether you are a restaurant, whether you are a widget maker, or you produce shoes or boots or food, you want to see in your industry how much money USA has spent on that industry before you start going through this. Because you find out they've only spent $1 in the last year, you don't want to go through this 8A process, right? So
Right, right, right. Great. And I have one last question. Well, maybe two questions to follow up, and then we're going to wrap up for today. And one is, should you apply for multiple designations all at the same time? I know the answer to this, but I want to hear your take on it.
hmm
And that is, should I apply for WBE, MBE, DBE, MBE, so Women Business Enterprise, Women Owned, WOSB, Women Owned
hmm
Small Business. Should we apply for all of those designations at the same time? What would your recommendation be?
you know, I always ask this question of every small business owner first
Mhm.
is who do you want to do business with first, right? Right? Who do you want to do business with? Each of the certifications that have been mentioned, you're doing business with a certain governmental entity or group of companies. So let's say you only want to do business with private business. you want to do business with Boeing, Ralston Purina, Bayer, things like that. You don't need 8A maybe. You don't need WOSB. You might just need Minority Business Enterprise from, the Minority Business Supplier Council or something like that. But let's say your customer segments include business to business and business to government, or B2B, B2G. Then you want to select the certifications that are going to help you from a marketing perspective to market to those segments. So that might be one certification, or it could be multiple ones based on your marketing strategy. And so, and I know it seems like, oh, this is a whole lot of work, Kevin and Alice, but I think it is really smart to come up with a strategy of who you want to do business with first, and then figure out what certification you need to go after that. So it could be one certification, or it could be multiple ones, right? So,
and what I would also recommend too is get one designation or certification approved. That way, that you've done the right thing. Because the other side of that is, if you have multiple applications that are out and they're kicking back to you because some information might be missing, it'll kind of frustrate you and you'll be like, I give up. And that's not the goal. We really want to streamline your process,
yes,
to make sure that you are successful in obtaining whichever certification, but most importantly, 8A, if that is what is best for your industry as well as your company.
Yeah. And
Kevin.
I would also say is that, it is really critical to figure out who you want to do business with, because, if you don't want to be just, doing this scatter shot, much like Alice would say, figure out which one you want to go after, the second one, the third one, and go in that sequence, right?
Awesome. Kevin, I want to thank you again for being our speaker today. And please, please, please feel free to reach out to Mr. Kevin Wilson. He is the Executive Director of the Small Business Empowerment Center right here in St. Louis, Missouri. He's just a floor ahead of us. His email address is also listed here. Please reach out to him if there are additional questions that he might be able to respond to, or reach out to us so we can point you in the right direction. But once again, Kevin, I'd like to thank you so much for your presentation. You are a wealth of information, and thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you to the MBDA for this presentation.
Yeah, I also would like to acknowledge the president of the Chicago MBDA, who is here on the program with us today. I'm sure he's listening and evaluating. His name is Mr. Vincent Williams, and so I am very grateful to have him with us today. Join us for our upcoming webinar that we will have on Thursday, September the 23rd at 1 p.m. Our guest speaker will be Dr. Kendra Holmes. She is the Senior Vice President at Affinia Healthcare. So as we are still dealing with variants and things of that nature, due to COVID-19, she will offer some workplace safety amidst COVID. So please, if you're interested, check out our website for events. We'll be updating that website with this information. And then we also have another one that is going to focus on financial opportunities, the do's and don'ts, which is Thursday, October 7th. As of this time, I thank each and every one of you for being part of the Missouri MBDA's in partnership with the Corona Relief Program. We thank you for supporting us. To learn more about who we are and what we do, visit our website, or you can contact our office at 314-391-4477. Thank you again and have an awesome day. This concludes our webinar for today. Have an awesome day.